So this is my first morning going to work since daughter left for Spain. So my husband and I are kind of like experimenting right now with empty nesters lifestyle, you know what I mean? The syndrome of the empty nest. I miss her terribly. I mean, I can understand when you have kids that are always giving you grief and you have kids that are always in trouble and you can't wait for them to grow up, leave the house because you just there's too much work taking care of them. I can understand that. But with baby Skylar, I know people don't believe it because mother says their baby is the best baby in the world. She, as a matter of fact, never even cried out loud. When she was little, she would do just this like kind of thing. She never even cried. She was this fantastically, amazingly quiet baby up until she was about 2 years old. She was, she never, she never threw a temper tantrum. She never embarrassed us in a store. She never did the things that I hear people complaining about. And I never felt like, oh my God, it's so much work. Having so much work. I'm like, bitch, don't have a child then. If you're going to complain like that. But maybe I am looking old through my perspective, having a baby that really was not that much work. All I had to do was wake up, produce milk, change her diapers, take her places. Maine, I had the most amazing times with her. When she was little, I stayed with her for 4 years. I had the most amazing time with her. I see mothers with their little babies complaining that they want to go out. They can no longer go out. They don't have enough time to do this and that. They're so tired. I was tired, I guess. But I was also so happy to have her. I was so happy all the time. I followed all the advice I got from the nurse in Norway. They are amazing here with they give you a lot of help in terms of they give you advice, give you she had free care until she was 18. So we'd go to the clinic and we'd weigh her and they'd tell us how she was doing. And the nurse would say to me, hey, if you're tired, sleep every time the baby sleeps. When the baby sleeps, you're not going to clean the house. You're not going to do anything other than also sleep. Just sleep when she sleeps, wake up when she wakes up. And that's what I did. It worked fine for the first. I breastfed her extensively. It's probably not safe for me to share how long it was. People are so prejudiced and so horrible. But let's just leave it as extensively. So she was always very healthy. She never even caught a cold or anything. She was so healthy. And we didn't spend any money on formula. And she started on solids when she was 4, maybe 6 months old. 4 months old, she started a little bit. Then 6 months old, but she didn't want to eat. She wanted the milk, so it was kind of hard for her. But breastfeeding was not a problem. I wasn't, because people say, oh, when you breastfeed, even if you're First of all, they said I would never be able to breastfeed because I'm flat chested. And I showed them up because I breastfed extensively. You can be flat as a board, all right? Once the milk comes in, it's like a imagine filling a balloon with water. That's what happens to the breasts. And I had your breastfeeding. So my best my best day, on my best day, I had so much milk that I had to pump it out and put them in and on my worst day, I didn't even have time to pump it out. It would just like leak all over the bed when I was sleeping, and it was a mess. So I had a. But people always think that breastfeeding babies are not going to be well fed, that they're going to lack this or that. She wasn't a fat baby. She didn't look like a plump baby. And I think those babies are so freaking cute when they're plump. But Skylar, in her own way, she was so cute. She had the cutest cheeks, and she was very healthy. She never got sick. When I stopped breastfeeding her, much later in life, I'm not going to tell anyone when it was because people are so judgmental. And in kindergarten, she got sick. But that was way, way after. It was right after I stopped breastfeeding her that she got sick. Up until then, she never got sick. She's very smart. A lot of people have read this study, read that study. There's studies that show that babies are fed have higher IQs. I don't know if that is she's just smart because she's smart. But I did breastfeed her and she's very smart. So here goes the snowplow. Anyway, Skylar was an amazing baby. As a child, she was fantastic. I never had to yell at her. I never had to. She's never done anything for me to be other than pleased to have her as my daughter. So I really miss her right now. Because as she grew up, hello. As she grew up, she became better and better. And she could not be any better because she's perfect right now. And that's why I miss her. I mean, I'm happy that she went to do this. I don't think she was too keen on going on this trip at the beginning. She was really nervous about having to share a hotel with girls that she didn't know. Being in a country she's never been to before. She was really afraid. But she seems to be doing well. She misses us, I'm sure. We miss her at home. But I know that she's really happy, and that's what matters the most to me. Skylar, if you're watching this, I hope you have a great day today. I don't think she's going to be watching my live best, but if you're watching this, vai lá, bezinho, arrebenta. Vai lá, bezinho, arrebenta. Vai ter bom dia. We speak Portuguese at home. It was mostly for her sake. My husband and I always, if we have to communicate, we use English 99% of the time. When we talk to her, we use Portuguese. And that's beautiful, having a multilingual home. Polyglot household is very exciting and educational. I can see like let us just say a couple of Americans, and they're into Babbel, Duolingo, they're into traveling, and they decide they want to raise their kids bilingual, right? But if both parents are American, it's probably more difficult for them to speak a language that's not there to the child, because it won't come natural to them. But then in a multicultural household where the parents are from different countries and the kid grows up in that environment where both parents speak a different language in addition to English and to the language of the country where you are, I feel like it's a lot more natural. I'm not saying that the two Americans who are learning other languages couldn't do it or could be multilingual. I'm just saying it comes more naturally to people who already speak foreign languages. But I'm all for it. I had a student, Giovanna, her name was. That was 20. Heck, that was not it. That was 30 years ago. It was 1995. Her name was Giovanna. She's now 35 years old. Am I doing my math wrong? I'm not. No, yes, okay. So her father was a very rich doctor who spoke English to her every day, all the time. He was Brazilian, but he wanted his kids to speak English fluently, so he just spoke English to them from the time they were little. And people made fun of him. I reckon he was onto something, because the little girl was amazing. I swear to God, sometimes like I wish I could see how all of those kids are doing. One of them, I remember from this same time in my life. He's now married. He lives in the Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken. His sister, who was a baby, she was in a baby class. She's now a doctor. And I'm old as fuck. If I was their teacher, and now they're doing all of this. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I was really young when I started teaching. I think it was shortly before I turned 18, or right as I turned 18. I was a student teacher and a substitute. My neighbor, shout out to my neighbor. There's an interview with her here on my channel. Her name is Shamis. She was already teaching English. She was also like maybe a year or two older than me. I know that we're not that far apart in age. And she needed to travel, and she needed someone to substitute her, so she sent me. And oh my God, that was the best day. I totally knew what I wanted to do after that. So I've been teaching for a very long time. So there are students of mine that I had when I was 20, 19, 20, who were not that much older, that much younger than me. I remember being a teenager, teaching teenagers. It was an experience. It was not easy. So I've been teaching for a very, very long time. So my students are doing well in life now, using English in their life somewhat. One of my best students ever, Livia, who is also my friend, and I also have an interview with her on this channel. She now works in a department in Canada where she works with literature exclusively in English. She reads and writes English on a daily basis. And I couldn't be prouder than her. I mean, I couldn't be prouder than I am of her. She's fantastic. She's a Canadian citizen now. And here we go, this vi kommer öka. There used to be a fantastic view from here, but now with all the apartments, you can't see it. Every time I go by this place, I remember a student I had that lived in this area. This person, fantastic. How do I put it? They were so smart and they had so much potential. But the problem was that they didn't want to follow any of my advice. And they thought that they could they just said, just speak the language to me and I'll learn. If you're a little child, that might work. But when you're an adult, that in it's not going to help you. You need the grammar, you need the structure, you need to study and prepare. And I'd give this homework. He was terrible at doing homework, following my advice. Because what I said was like, there will be bits of my classes with you when I will speak the language to you, but I need to prepare you for it. And it was, yeah. And I didn't make any money from this experience. I wish I had made a ton of money because it was super stressful. I'm not going to say they didn't pay me at all because there was a couple of classes that he paid for. But most of my work he never paid. Maybe that's part of the reason, like if you get something for free, you don't think that you just don't value it as much. Maybe that's it. But I hope that he's fluent now. I hope that whoever he married is also into languages, and that I hope they become the two Americans with multilingual children. And I hope maybe he's now living his best student in the world era, and he's studying and dedicating himself. I wonder what happened to all my students. I had a student in, I think it was 2020, 2021. Some of that time it's such a stressful time. It's such a sad time for me. Yes, so he reached out to me on Facebook because I have my educator page on Facebook. So they reached out to me and I said, let's have a class for you to see what my Spanish classes are like and see. It's like a diagnosis class for me to figure out your level and what you need to learn. How about that? You don't have to pay for that. So we did. And the class is here somewhere in this channel because it's free. If you don't want to pay for it, I'll give you that. It says free trial, and that's what it is. You try out the class to see if you like it. And I record it for future use. So I was thinking, wow, he studied, he did the homework, he came prepared. I'm like, how did you learn Spanish? I mean, he didn't know Spanish, but he knew verbs, he knew a lot of vocabulary. He was good. He was A2, I think A2, going on to B1. And he learned Spanish because his cellmate in prison was Mexican. I could be mistaken about this. This was 3-4 years. So his cellmate in prison was Hispanic. Let's just put it this way, because I don't know if he was Mexican. So this guy taught a lot of Spanish, and he got out of prison, and he got in touch with me on Facebook, and the classes were online. So even if you were in prison, he could have still been the class. So I taught him. He was really impressive for the circumstances in which he was. I know what happened to him. I just Googled him the other day. I don't know why. He's back in prison. I think it's for selling drugs or something. And that's so sad when somebody that has all the potential in the world to do amazing things and they go a path like that. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, a lot of them. But I've always stayed within the scopes of legality. I've never done anything illegal. I've been living my life following the rules of society. Not hating it. That's why I get so mad, and you can see this on my channel, when people racially profile me and just expect me to be this enormous failure of a human being. They look at me and they already expect me to be a thief of some sort. I hate that, because I'm not. I really think it's unfair. All right, I have another bus to catch, and I have 6 hours to teach. I'm gonna teach for 6 hours straight. It's gonna be lovely. Subscribe, like, watch the videos. There's so much more to this channel than me sitting on a bus. You should subscribe.